This is the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club ARDC weekly meeting for Monday, January 19th, 2026. We have a couple things to talk about here today. We want to talk about a few things. First of all, we have these terrific single line drawings, block diagrams that are really going to be very, very helpful. We have one there, and let me just get the other one in position. And then there's the other one. Okay, so I'll put these away just for now. So we'll talk about the power and signal flow, and we'll talk about, I guess this is just the signal flow. So that's excellent. Okay, that's good. Let's start here, and we'll wait till Andrew. I don't want to talk about the drawings that he did until he actually gets here. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. So we know that we have purchased the LTU Extreme, which is the microwave system, and that was back in June. Then we have some Heliax cable and the duplexer, right? And both of those have been received. Is that right, Len? Right? Yeah, I know you have the duplexer. I was the Heliax cable. Has that been received? I didn't know
No,
that
we
was
don't have
ordered.
the heliac. We don't have the cable for the repeater yet.
We don't. I wonder why. Because
Well,
it's.
we didn't know how long it was if we're going to have cables on it. We wanted to wait until we got the installation in and then order it after we got the measurements.
I totally agree with you. The right thing to do. But my question is, why do we have $9,000 debit on that if we didn't receive the? Oh, so that I beg your pardon. Okay. That's for the duplexer. So that's the purchase of the duplexer. Okay, and that's about right. And then of course, you know, uh the tariff. So we essentially they took $900 away from us. Okay, for the tariffs. All right, the next thing is we have the repeater, the Motorola repeater for $5,500, almost just about that, the Motorola repeater, right? We have Ubiquity. This must be the switch and the router. I would assume that's what it is, right? Okay, that's good. 1670. The All-Star Thin Client. Um, Dave, just remind me what that is. The All-Star Thin Client. Oh, the RTCM. Maybe you could
That's
talk about.
that's Andrew's device. That's to replace the four UHF receivers.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so that's All-Star. That's All-Star. Okay, good. Then, of course, our GPS antenna. That gives us synchronization with the rest of the world. We have a hard drive and Ethernet cable from Amazon for 200, and then about $56 worth of Ethernet cable. Although I don't see connectors. Do we have connectors for the Ethernet cable? Is that a roll? That must be.
No, we do have a roll that was bought with the very first one there with the LTU Extreme. So there was a roll purchased, and I have the connectors for it.
You
The Ethernet 2-foot and the Ethernet 5-foot, are pre-made patch cables.
Excellent. Okay, got it. Yeah, pre-made, which is the way to go. Okay, so. What does that give us? So we now have roughly about $9,600 left in the kitty. So we will be dividing that up shortly. So that's where we are as of that. All right, let me just do my very best to walk through this. And I must say that I'm not the expert on this, but I'll do the best I can. So the SLR 5700, as we know, that is actually the repeater.
Can I interrupt you just for a second? If you want to hang out for a second until Andrew can walk through these,
Thank
if
you.
you give me a second, I just want to get a thumbs up on stickers, and I'll get them on order.
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to share real quick.
Go ahead, share. I'll stop sharing. Hold on. You got it. We see your Zoom screen. It says Zoom on it, right? That's what we're looking at. Oh, there you. Oh, I love it. Look at that.
So
Oh,
basically, I chose green. We can pick, there's a multitude of colors here, but I chose green so that it would stand out from all of the equipment that we've purchased. It's all black, gray, silver. We don't have anything that's green, so I chose green so that it would stand out. We can absolutely change this, but I went with property of hparc.org up here. The starting number would be 001. The prefix would be HB, so it'd say HP dash, and then our number. We can also get rid of that if we don't want a prefix,
can
whatever.
can I ask you a question? Can you
Uh-huh.
put Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club? Does it fit? I'll tell you why. Because we know what hparc.org is, but not everybody does.
Right,
And
but if somebody was trying to identify this, they could go to hparc.org and find out who we were.
oh, correct. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Um, This is the smallest number of labels. It's 100 labels. They're 13 cents a piece. It turns out to be almost $13 for 100 labels. The other option that I had was this one. Again, I chose green, property of hprc.org 001, starting with HP. This is 50 labels, 26 cents a piece, also $13. And then this QR code, we can put whatever image we want at all. We can upload an image. I created this image. It takes us to hprc.org, but um, what I would like to do is have it take us to the Google Drive where all of our documentation is. So you could scan this and it would take you directly to where all the documentation is stored. Um, and so I have not made that QR code yet, but they're very easy to make. It's just a
Right.
QR code
Would it
maker.
take would it take anybody to that Google page? Just some
Yes, it
stranger that walked up and scanned it?
Yes, it would, but what we
Mm.
would do is we would lock down the access, so you'd have to enter an email and password to get into that folder.
Oh, okay.
So it would take anybody to the login page, but then you would have to have credentials to get into it. And I would propose that anyway, we would lock down those credentials to a few select, like the board, or maybe even just like Ruben on the board has access to all of the club stuff that then would be handed over to whoever, and he could give access to whoever the master and commander of the repeater is at the time. But basically, it would where we would store the drawings, the pricing, the that whole drive would all be stored there. And this QR code would take you there, so that whoever was working on the dart would be able to scan that and be able to get to the website.
Oh, that's excellent. That is excellent. Okay.
So if folks are happy with what we see, I can get $13. I can get this on order and I can send them straight to Len's house because I'm going on vacation on Wednesday, so I won't be around, but I could send them there, unless anybody wants to change anything that they see here.
Are you going to
I,
use the labeler that Mark UNX has, or are you going to have another
Uh,
labeler?
no, so for $13, we get 50 or 100 of the other ones, already printed, manufactured, ready to go on a sheet. You just peel them off and stick them on the device. You don't have to make them yourself.
But you have to write
correct.
them down, keep track of which numbers go to what.
Correct.
Yes,
There.
correct. But you'd have to, even if we made them ourselves, we would have to do the same thing. We'd still have to identify what device says what number.
Now,
And this is pretty standard throughout the industry, this type of a tag. Also, I like the fact that it's longer than it is taller because most things are horizontal anyway. And yeah, yeah. Um,
Now,
go
Dave,
ahead, Len.
as the director in charge of inventory, are you going to use these tags on other things that we're going to take? And that's another issue that I want to bring up is what things we have in inventory that's obsolete we want to get rid of. Bob's got stuff. I think Bill's got stuff that he wants to get rid of. He's these guys, and John, I know it has stuff that he'd like to get rid of. And we got to start cleaning up the inventory. And I think Dave might be a good one to work with on this to decide what we want to keep and get rid of, what we want to tag. Stuff we want to keep, we're going to tag. So make sure you get enough of these labels, Dave, for anything else besides. I think 50 of them is just going to cover the repeater.
Well,
Yes.
we can absolutely do more. So if I increase this to 100 labels, it becomes $26, and we can get 100 of them. The other thing is that like if we get 50, so this number will advance to 50, and it means the next time that we purchase them, we can start at 51, and we can buy 51 through whatever. So we can do whatever folks want to do, whether we want to buy 100 of them now or whether we want to buy 50 and can buy 50. But I completely agree we should start tagging the club equipment, and we should start inventorying it with barcodes and QR codes like this.
What type of material is that, Dave?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me find out. I believe it to be metal, but let me confirm.
No, I think they're plastic. It's a plastic with well, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, plastic.
It's
It says up
plastic.
there,
Yeah.
material, plastic. At
And
the
Dave,
top.
Oh, yes. Thank
Dave,
you.
are
Yep.
those also designed to not remove cleanly if someone tries to scrape it off?
And that was my question, right? As opposed to a foil metal one.
So
Hmm.
can I address that? Here's what we did. We had these labels, but we also used an engraver and we engraved just the number, like here, like AA-001. And we would engrave it because that is right. That's, in field operations, our stuff ends up everywhere. But that's a good point. They do come off, okay.
So
But if
this,
you,
yeah, I just saw this. It says can be removed without damaging the item.
yeah. So we get it, just from
Yeah, I was just hoping that they might have like a tear through them or something so that if
Like
someone tried to scrape it off, it wouldn't remove the whole label easily for theft protection.
that's
that, yeah,
That's a
is
that's a
two-way
good.
street, though. If you go to sell something, like I've got some stuff I bought at the swap.
Well,
It's got
yeah,
it's got engraving on it, and a
well,
label, and it looks like it's theft. It's like I stole it.
yeah, but it'll look like that if you put a engraver on there anyways. But a lot of companies that have equipment that public sees have tags that cannot tear, tear cleanly for protection.
Okay. Keeping in mind too that we are in a protected area where this equipment is. So, um, where only
Yeah.
professionals can go up into the
It,
area. But
it
that is
might
a good
be
point.
perhaps a bit of an overkill, correct, in getting something that's really permanent. And if you can do all that, you might as well just get some metal nameplates and rivet them onto the back of the chassis, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't take that off without using a drill and drilling out the rivets. So maybe we're overthinking it a little bit too much, and we really just need it for inventory and
and
self-identification purposes.
Add
uh,
add a
the
drop of
other,
super glue to the back of it.
yeah. The other thing is that, I would say 98% of the items that we're going to be putting up there are integral to the repeater. So if somebody takes one, we'll know about it real quick.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
What,
Just go.
what was
I
Hugh's
vote
comment?
for. I vote for his first pick or his second one with the QR codes. Just like Len says, get enough of them. I guess it's nice that you can order more and continue the numerical order from where you left off, so you're not over purchasing. But I
Yeah.
mean, who knows how much they're going to be in the future? I don't think a couple cents is going to make that much of a difference. It could come out of the general DART fund if no money is allocated for it out of the grant. But you
So
got
in
the
that
grant.
case,
We got $7,500 in the grant. Yeah, purchase them. Get a couple hundred. Hell, stickers for everyone. You get a sticker. You get a sticker. Everyone gets a sticker.
so I'll order
It'll be a
100 of
sticky
them for right
situation.
now. Can
Do
I
you have
just
the label maker, Dave?
so they come printed. They
Yeah.
come
Oh,
so we customize them right here. So what you see here, Len, is what the stickers are going to look like. So, but they'll advance by one number for 100 stickers. So it'll start at 1 and go up to 100.
okay. Now,
Absolutely.
what are we going to use for the cable identifications and
All
other
right, so
things?
good question. Good question. So hold
Uh,
on.
Sorry,
That's
just
not
before we move on, can I just get a thumbs up? Are we happy with property of hbarc.org? And are we
Yes.
good with green? Specifically, are we good with the green?
I think of all the colors, I think green is the best.
Okay, perfect. I will get
Yes.
these on order. And Len, you're cool if I send these directly to your house?
That's fine.
Okay,
Do,
fantastic.
do
Thank
they
you.
have other labels here that we can use for the cables and stuff like that?
Yes. Yes. Different label. Different label. That is
They'll be
correct. So,
different, but we
yeah.
can order them at the same time from the same place.
Oh, good point. So do they have cable labels?
Yeah, they
Uh,
do.
you know who does that is what's the name of that company?
What we would need and get them made like that.
Are you thinking of Brady labels, Joe?
Brady labels. That's it. Yes, Brady labels. That's what we want. And here's the thing. See these labels that hang out like that? They're a disaster. They're
Yeah.
absolutely a disaster. But yes, that's the kind of label we're looking for.
Look at those
But
labels right there.
hold on.
Yeah, these
Len
are
Len brings up a good point. Is we do need to get who was it? Was it Mark? The
Mark
other Mark.
Unix has a labeler.
He's got the labeler.
I have a
So
couple too here, but he's got the first class one.
yeah, yeah. So why don't we do that? Let Mark do those labels for the cables, because then you could put like from to or what the
Mark
other
is
end
here.
where the other end goes to, kind of a thing.
Mark is
Okay.
here.
Oh, is Mark here? Where are you? No, other Mark.
I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mark's
Mark, who's not here, is here. Oh, I see.
There's
Yes,
two
he is.
Marks.
There he is.
Mark
How many
Rand.
marks do we have?
Two. We have two Marks.
And they're both here.
And yes, two Marks, and they're both here.
On
We
your
have Mark
market, set,
MAF,
go.
MAF, and UNX. And what a great background there, Al. Love it. I know that's your station there, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's what I would propose. So Mark, UNX, Mark, are you there?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. There we go. The Brady label. Yes, that is exactly. You could not get a better product than what he's holding up there. So I would suggest.
We'll pick a different color than green, though.
Right. Well, actually, well, I don't want to go there, but you could get
Something to-
audio cables are green, video cables are another, whatever. But just make them white. Just
So
make
if
them,
I can just speak into this part, as
please.
far as the actual label that you get, the cartridge, there's a lot of different options. I mean, this device you can order dissolving labels for surgery. Okay. But obviously we don't want that. So the point is you want to go online and look at in the Brady universe of cartridges, probably, like just a simple black on white. I don't know if you want to get all fancy with colors, but you want to get enough that we don't run out. in terms of the cartridge. So
I think
Right.
perhaps they should be color uniform to Andrew's flow chart that he uploaded with the different colors for the different audio passes and RF passes. So if you have the tags matching the flow chart that Andrew has, it'll be a little bit more self-explanatory. So maybe getting a couple colors would be beneficial for cable identifications.
all right, now who's going to order the cartridges?
Well, hold on. Can I make a comment?
Yep.
First of all, n- not everybody can see color. Okay, so that's a problem. I think that like for audio, you go A001. For RF, you go R002. For control, CTL or C. You know what I mean? In other words, use an alphanumeric prefix and then give the number. Al, would that work for you?
Actually, it's whatever I think Andrew and Dave decide is probably the best way. Sure, you could probably do it that way as well, and maybe just get some colored tape to identify the network, the path for whatever that cable is being used for. So you can still resort back to the flow chart that Andrew developed. And
Which I'm going
it's
to put
very
up
it's
right
very self-explanatory. I look at it as like, between using the color labels and traces with color, it's self-explanatory what every component is doing. And it appears that the only thing left to purchase right now would be the RF cabling that he has in a light blue. So I think that would be where, with the different end connectors and how we're gonna either assemble them ourselves or have them pre-assembled, we're gonna need lengths and all that. So I think according to Andrew's flow chart, about the only cabling left that I see needed is in the light blue color. So theoretically, right, if we had something to match that on the repeater, on the physical repeater itself, then we can, resort back to a flow chart and say, oh, look, this wasn't supposed to go here. This was supposed to go over there. So we could even, do your more minute labeling, down to the plug at that point with your letters and your numerators and any other kind of abbreviations you want to use. But I think if we could somehow color code the cables to match the flow chart, it would be pretty self-explanatory at that point. I don't know, Andrew, are you in there? I thought I saw you.
Not yet,
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna
here's,
say, I don't,
oh,
it's
he is. Oh, hi,
pretty
Andrew.
self-explanatory because if it's an Ethernet, it either, one end's at the switch, one end's at a device. If it's an AC plug, one end's at the device, one end's at the PDU. If it's, RF, I think is the only thing where we'd probably really need to label it. Everything else is only goes in one way, so to speak. Like it's
Okay,
the
so
using
what you're saying,
Ethernet for everything, it kind of error mistake proofs it to as long
all
as
right,
we make sure that we have label something switch end, label something the other end. Um, we don't really have to worry too much about getting,
okay,
circuit one to pin A, circuit two to pin B, because uh, we make use of, connectors. So
okay. So we're just overthinking it and overcomplicating it. Fine, perfect. Enough said. We don't need color coded labels. Hell, we probably won't even need labels at all.
Oh, we do. It's the right thing to do because remember, think of our rack now. So when it was originally built, it was very nice and neat, right? And then over the years, cables get added, taken out, so on and so forth. I would say it's a good practice, good engineering practice to label the cables. It in the long run, it's
Back
the way.
back when I
Yeah,
was wiring boilers back in the heating days, we would at least number them.
yeah,
Every cable
yeah.
had a number at both ends, so you
Well,
would
that's
you
right.
would just number it and then have a list of which number went to what component. That's all you would really need. But yeah, this is even more self-explanatory, and these guys are the networking gurus. So what looks like a spaghetti mess to us, is nice and neat to them. So I'm not gonna second guess and overthink anything that we don't need, right? So, yeah, maybe a simple label. If Andrew and Dave think so, then fine, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Andrew, these are really nice drawings you put together here, and I did not see them when I sent you the email this afternoon. So, um, shame on me there. But well, these are really nice diagrams.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well done, Andrew. Well done. Well done. Okay. All right. Well, so we're okay on the labels, right? So we're going to order the label with the the fancy a QR code, horizontal labels and right? And so we'll get that, and that's for inventory purposes for equipment identification. And then what's good about that is we can send that to the ARDC, Len, for the next update and to show that we know, where the money's being spent and so on and so forth. So that's
While
good.
we're on inventory, can we continue on with what the thought of what do, what do we need some kind of policy so when Dave and I and whoever gets involved in dispensing or disposing of items that are obsolete, um, that we can feel confident about it and don't feel we're going to be second guessed. If it has been
Glenn,
used,
I don't want to interrupt you, but this is something that should be done at a board meeting.
Oh, you know what?
this is well, it's like the old repeater and other. Yeah, you're probably right there.
Let me just,
Okay.
I can add to that. So the process, it's called F8. So what happens in the inventory chart is you get labeled, there's like, different columns, the serial number, the inventory number, the description, the purchase cost, and then the status. So the status would be, whatever, we're using it. But you put F8 if you want to sell or dispose of a piece of equipment there. That's the process in that.
And also remind you guys, that's the director's job.
Yes, it is
That's
actually.
why we're talking. Dave's right here. That's what we're talking to him about.
And that
Okay.
could be better off done at a board meeting.
All right, hold on. We hit Mr. Jones there. Hello.
Let me
Donald.
unmute
Is that
myself.
you?
KD8NYD.
Oh,
If
okay.
you want to draft F8 policy, I'd be happy to prepare one for the board's consideration.
Donald, we would certainly appreciate that. Thank you for that, for volunteering to do that. That would be a good, and we can present that to the board, right?
When is the next meeting?
Generally speaking, it's 2 weeks prior to the membership meeting. Okay. So Andrew,
Yeah, come on.
can you walk us through some of this? This looks pretty cool, I think. And do you want to, well, first of all, are we done with our anything else to say about inventory tags or tags for labeling cables? So the inventory tags we'll purchase from Avery, and the cable labels, if we could use Mark's cable label, and we will provide the cartridge for whatever we need there, and we could get started on that. Where are we? Where was it going? Oh, Andrew. Andrew, can you walk us through this roughly? Terrific, by the way. Really, it really tells the story here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just how we have everything wired right now, either, wired or planned. So everything in red is power, everything in purple is like a, serial signal, anything in black is analog, Green is networking, so Ethernet, and then blue is the RF path. And you can kind of just see, unlike the current repeater where we have a lot of analog stuff, almost everything goes over the network. We really only have um, the link between the RTCM and the repeater itself. Everything else is, more or less digital. Um, so we don't have, as many point-to-point type connections. They're all kind of bust,
Yeah, it's really
which
clean.
yeah,
Real
makes it
clean.
easy.
Right, right. And would you be okay if Len includes your two drawings with the next report to the ARDC? I think this would go a very long way as to what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have this drawing here. And so basically, let me see if I could read this and correct me if I'm wrong. So we start on the left side there with the SLR 5700, which is the repeater. And then this is the 25 pin, what we used to call them D connectors. I don't know what they call them now, but D connector here with the voltage and the PL detect, by the way, that's very important because that is just a circuit that identifies, it says there is a signal there. So it basically breaks the squelch, I believe, right? And gives the an indicator that there is some sort of a carrier. I don't know if it's specific, but I would imagine so because it's a PL, a private line. So it when it receives the right code, it would the repeater would send that to the RTCM, which we'll talk about in a minute. Then going in the other direction, you have the push to talk line, to put the repeater into the transmit mode, and then of course the audio that goes along with that. Then here you could see there's a DB9, a 9-pin connector, one of the smaller, it's a small D connector, right? But going on the receive side, as we always start off first, is we have an A to D, an analog to digital converter, and then that gets transformed into digital. I'm not sure I'm using the right terminology. And then going in the opposite direction, we have the um, the transmit side, digital audio, digital to analog. So basically, oh, isn't that interesting? I just noticed that. So the okay, so the output of the RTCM is an analog audio. Is that correct? That we're putting into the transmitter. Andrew, I'm right on that, right? Is that what they're
Yeah,
saying?
everything on the left of the RTCM in this picture is analog.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So the RTCM is the device, is the interface between the digital world and the analog world. Okay, understood. And then on the right side, of course, we're all digital. We go through the switch, and the switch is the device that will send the various packets to the right destination there. And then let me look down here. Oh, GPS timing. Okay, good, good. So that way we're in sync with the rest of the world. Also fitting the switch. Hold on a minute. Sorry. All right. Then we get into the All-Star PC. Okay, the All-Star. And Andrew, if you don't mind, just give us a 3-minute explanation because this is something we all need to learn a little more about All-Star. I see voting, controller, Echolink, and other. Can you just bring us up to speed on that?
Yeah, so since you're taking in the audio and repeater status as a digital signal, the computer can pretty much do whatever with it. So in the repeater case, it'll take the receive audio signal. The voter will take whatever the best one is that it gets, and then pass that along to the controller, and then the controller will do anything it needs to as far as, IDing, playing announcements or whatever, and then take that arbitrated audio and then send it out back, through the Ethernet port to the switch to the RTCM where it'll go out over the air. So it's pretty much the function that you'd normally have in, 3 or 4 different boxes previously. Because we're digitizing the audio, that digital audio is what's being, worked upon by the computer, so the computer program can do whatever it needs to do. And then I just have other modules in there. There's if we decide to eventually go to DMR, there's a way you can link a DMR talk group into All-Star. So that's kind of, like a specific room, for lack of a better term. So if we had like a club talk group for DMR, we could get it to switch to where it'll broadcast in analog over the analog repeater, but then it'll also go out to the DMR network to be rebroadcast on, other DMR repeaters that have the talk group active, or, hotspots. So just, kind of, it makes it a little bit future proof too, because you mentioned earlier potentially needing to add cables and all of this other stuff. If you keep it software defined, the digital signals at the computer, as long as you could do, as much as possible of it in there, you could add new functionality without having to add new hardware and, run new cables or anything like that. Just a couple minutes in the computer, downloading the program, setting it up, and then clicking run, and, you could have new functionality. Because right now I don't have Echolink set up, and I don't have Broadcastify or any of the DMR stuff set up.
Broadcastify would be nice.
Yeah. So I played around with it. It's looks like it's pretty easy to do, but yeah, none of that stuff is currently enabled because we have to wait until, the repeaters commission too for some of that.
Right.
So like for Broadcastify and Echolink, we don't want to take the current repeater off of Echolink until we get this one, in. So
the time announcements that the repeater puts out on a periodic basis, that'll be based on the GPS time, so it'll always be accurate?
it'll be accurate to within a minute or two. There is a little bit of a delay, especially if there's like a conversation going on. It might not call it right when it happens, because the way that it works in All-Star is I have a script, and we could edit it to be, we could do every minute if we really wanted to, but
No.
right now it's just the top of the hour. And
Okay.
it's, as long as there's nothing interrupting it, it's pretty accurate. If it runs and there's someone talking, it might, depending on how it gets called, it might say, "Hey, it's 6 o'clock," and it'll be 6:05 because that's the first opening it had to, get in.
Okay, and there, I'm not that sure. I should know, but I don't, so I'll ask. Isn't there a more often time that you have to generate an announcement if there's nothing going on, and what's the minimum time space between repeater announcements? Like in a commercial
Like we-
world, it's something like 15 minutes or something like that.
30 minutes,
Um,
yeah.
In
Yeah,
a
we can
commercial-
set it to whatever we want. I have a random. Actually, I take that back. So right now it's set up to play a random, like one of 3 random announcements at the top of the hour. It does not do the time. I think it only does the time. I have it set up at certain times. It's like every 3 hours, I think.
Oh, really?
But that's all easily configurable. So we could decide what we want to announce when, and as long as it's like on a schedule, and we say like, hey, we want to play this random, one of these random files at this time, one of these random files at that time. That's all really scriptable. So
Great.
it's just a matter of figuring out what we want to play, and
Right.
then when we want to play it, and then I could set that up.
Thank you.
So I have a question, Andrew. So what does the remote site look like? In other words, I guess what I'm asking is, do we need internet connectivity at the remote receivers?
Yeah, so the remote receive would look like the RTCM and repeater. So that'll stay the same. It'll just be whatever connector the other repeater needs or the other receiver needs. It just won't have the PTT or TX audio. It'll just be the, four on the top. And then instead of the switch, well, it'll be a switch and then either the Ethernet to, internet, whatever that looks like, or the Ubiquity link if that gets set up. So right now, I believe we do have access. We've had we've been told we've had access both at the airport and at the hospital to the internet to get this started. And then once we have everything running, when we get, the other equipment and dishes and all of that, we could move it over to that, 5 gigahertz link.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the plan is to use the internet first, because then that'll kind of get rid of one part of complexity. If we don't have to worry about getting the dishes and all that set up. We just use the internet to get it set up, and then once we have everything functioning, then we could go back in later with the dishes and set it up to use that.
So then my question, and this is for Dave, really. Are you familiar with the potential internet connectivity that we have? And is that realistic in terms of uh, uh, I'm asking the question. I honestly I don't know. Do we have internet access at each of these locations? And is it a VPN sort of a situation, or how does that
Yeah,
work?
no, you don't need a VPN at all. It's the way that the voter protocol is set up is that the RTCM does a handshake with the All-Star PC. So we only have to configure the firewall on our side at the main site, and then all of the other RTCMs will just phone home to that IP, and then it'll go right to the All-Star PC. So there's no VPN or anything needed. You could literally take the RTCM and plug it in like at your house if you wanted to. And as long as it's set up correctly, internal to the RTCM and it's pointing at the right, the public IP of the main site, it'll connect pretty quickly.
Okay, okay, but we have to make sure that we have the right access to whatever local network that we have. So
So
that's one.
the answer is no, I'm not familiar with the internet connection at these locations, but we have been we have been told that there is an available internet connection the at the airport and at the hospital. So that's all that we have to go by. And the internet connection at the airport is fairly available. Like it's right there, like no problem, we can use it. The internet connection at the hospital, I believe, is connected to another radio rack that somebody is in some way connected with the club and has approved and authorized that we can have internet connection through their rack. But I don't know who it is or where it is or how it is. But as Andrew just stated, all we need to do is how I call it is you just need to smell the internet. You don't like there's no connections or setup or port forwarding or public or private IP addresses. It just needs to be able to ping 8.8.8.8, and as long as it can get out to the internet, it can get back to the main.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. There's no configuration or anything like that needed. As long as it's set up to automatically get an IP address, which most internet systems are, we would just plug it in and then it'll go through, and as soon as you can get the internet, it'll just start sending stuff to the voter.
Is there a way that we could like go out to each of those remote sites? And let's assume, I mean, I'm assuming this. I have nothing more than an assumption. But let's say we're able to put a third receiver out at the university there, and we could access their internet. But is there like a test box, or is there some sort of procedure we could do like ahead of time just to make sure that this port forwarding thing, I know that could be a nightmare, really, um, to make sure that our assumptions are correct. How would we do that? How could we do that testing?
Just bring a PC out, plug it into the network, and ping 8.8.8.8. As long as you can get out, that's it.
Well, that's easy. Okay,
That'd probably be the easiest way to do it.
great, great. Okay,
Or just open a browser and type in google.com and ask it what time it is. And if it gives you an accurate time,
yeah,
then it means that you're actively connected to the internet.
got it. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, when
That's my go-to all the time is I just ask Google what time it is and it gives me an accurate time. And as long as it gives me an accurate time,
Yeah,
I know that I'm online.
great, great.
when they developed this system, I think they thought of all that and kind of baked it into the protocol.
Oh,
So
did
yeah, it does seem like it's fairly there's a lot of kind of fine print in the manual you have to read as far as setting it up on the RTCM and making sure you have the GPS signal and all that. But once it has everything and everything's configured right, and it's only in the RTCM, it's really nowhere else. As long as it can get onto the internet and reach the main site, it'll connect right away. Like we
Then
could even in
we'll have to
theory,
do all.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, all of the configuration, like the port forwarding and the rest of that, other specialized settings that need to be done, all need to be done on our end on the network connection that we own. So we can do whatever we want or whatever we need to do on our end so that the far end just connects. When I was talking to Andrew about it, the best way that I could wrap my head around it is that the remote receive sites will be connecting the same way as Echolink on your phone. Like you connect to the repeater. You just connect to it. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, whether you're going through 3G, 5G, through your home Wi-Fi, through the Wi-Fi at McDonald's. Like as long as you have an internet connection, it just connects, and that's the way that the RTCMs will be connecting is the same way as Echolink does on your phone.
Okay, I see. And then, so what is the advantage we would have by installing the 5 gigahertz link, internet link, or sorry, digital link to each of the locations? Would that be significantly better? Is there an advantage to that? What do we get with that system?
That would just be separate from the internet, right? It'd be our own network. So if the internet were to go down, we would still be able to use the voter, assuming we have power, at the remote sites.
Right, right, right. Okay. All right. All right. So that's that. Now, where's the, hold on. We have another picture here. So here, let me see if I could interpret this. Let me just look here just for a second. So here I see, so here we have the internet. Here we have our power supply, and of course here our power supply, 12 volt DC, then 120 volts. So that's the switch, the PDU, right? That's that switch at the top of the rack,
Yep.
towards the top of the, yeah, okay. Then we
Power
have
distribution unit.
the power distribution unit. Yes, thank you. So you can see that's feeding each one of the items there. So from a so here, so we start with, well, that's the GPS, and oh, here's the real antenna. Okay, so here's our antenna. We have some hard line. Oops, sorry, I don't care. Okay, and then we go to the duplexer. The duplexer. Oh, wait a minute here. I see something. Uh, the amplifier. Oh, got it, got it. I can't see everything. Sorry. So the amplifier, the output of the duplexer is, sorry, the output of the SLR 5700 is feeding the amplifier. The output of the amplifier is feeding the circulator, and the circulator, of course, is to keep external interference out of the high power amplifier. And the output of the circulator goes to the duplexer. Then the duplexer, I see. Well, the duplexer is really a two-way. Oh, you do. You have it. You have an arrow on each end, so that's correct. Yeah. So the duplexer goes directly to the antenna using the hard line. Okay. And then here we have the RTCM, which is again the analog to digital interface in our world. It takes in a signal from the GPS antenna. Uh, we have the audio and the push to talk, transmit, receive. Oh, well, this is interesting. So I see you have the 12-volt supply coming out of the SLR 5700. It wouldn't be a direct connection there or something. Is that
Yeah,
right?
it's powered off of the DB25 port. So it's in
Okay.
the same it's in that same bundle as the audio push to talk.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
all one. Since it was available on that pin to avoid having to do, a Y split or something like that, I just used that. So it's a DB25 to DB9 straight through.
Wow. Very exciting. Okay. All right. All right. So, in the time we have left, let's just talk about the schedule. So,
One more thing, we got a question here.
go ahead.
That on the what was it on the bottom here? What was it that John took over there to try out? Was it the circulator or isolator?
Yeah, right here, the
Yeah.
circulator isolator. That's right. Uh-huh.
Do we need to get that back so we can put that in the cabinet now, I know he took it and borrowed it to try it out.
You might
Yes.
need it to get cable links and get cables made.
Yes. And also to test the system as a complete system. I would say correct, Len. Thank you for that. Yeah. Good point. We should get it back. Yeah.
What became of the All-Star node?
Oh, gosh.
Now that Andrew's not here, we still don't
I
have that
was supposed,
rectified, do we?
Andrew, you know what? My apologies. I did promise, I said, Andrew, I'd send it. I'll copy you both on that. We need to take it to the next step and log in and get the node. Yeah, yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
to, proceed not only for the repeater sake, but also for these QSL cards, right? We want to,
Yes,
if we're
yes.
going to try to encourage new members and, new hams and, the net 3000 coming up, we might want to have something ready by then.
Absolutely. All right. When we get off the air here, Um, I'll go dig that up and I'll copy both of you on that. And maybe that's something the three of us or two of us, whoever, can get together offline and figure it out. I don't know that I have to be involved in it once I give you the credentials, but I'll pull that up. And yes, we definitely have to. We're like 95% of the way there. We just have to log in and get the node number if we haven't done that already. So, good point. All right. On that note, I will say if anybody has anything else to say, now would be a good time to say it. If not,
I do.
When and how are we going? How are we going to apply for the UHF frequency pair? Who's going to take charge of that?
that would be something that I would do because being the trustee. But that's something that needs to be done right. Or what? I'm not sure exactly how that fits in.
Does that have
What-
something to do with this project?
Yeah, this is a repeater project. The topic was how we're going to use the digital on UHF, and if possibly use what money's remaining towards it, or apply for more to go along with to make it happen. And It's extension of the ARDC.
Well, I think honestly, we don't have another location yet for the UHF site. So I think everything is contingent on whether or not we still have availability at our current site. Now, if we have a green light there, I don't see any reason why, we could strip out the old Quantar, clean up that cabinet, and then put a UHF repeater into that cabinet right there at the main site. So it'll have a VHF and a UHF for DMR right there at the main. But the thing you're going to need before you register for a pair is you're going to need a location. B, you're going to have to provide them with an equipment list, the repeater, and how much the output power is. And C, the type of antenna you're going to use and a relative gain, because they're going to need to factor in all that information to give you a clear paired frequency that isn't going to interfere with another repeater that's on that frequency, maybe at a little lower power. So your repeater has more, they're going to have to figure in the coverage and the terrain location. So that's the other issue that they need to know where it's going to end up at. So the location, the equipment, the power, is there going to be an amp, and the antenna gain. So they're going to factor all that into an algorithm and come up with a paired frequency that won't interfere with anybody. So we kind of need to know where it's going to be at first. But as Sean did mention, it takes like a good year for it to be processed through. And I think if we're relatively close to where we want it to be at, we could probably put the pair in for the DART where it's currently at. And then if we find, hey, we can't be here, we're going to be 5 miles north, you can put an addendum in to the repeater council. And if they approve it, it's just, it's no problem at all at that point. So I think we'd probably be pretty safe, at least on UHF. The band's a lot bigger. It's not as tight. There's more elbow room. So, you'll have a little more leniency in case we did have to relocate the repeater site from, here to Oakland University or here to Waterford. I don't think, 10, 15, 20 miles would make that much of a difference for a UHF pair. But unfortunately, we have to have a game plan, I think, before we move forward. And yes, I'd love to be able to utilize the remainder balance and then a little bit extra to get a UHF repeater, and dedicate that one to DMR. This area is starving for DMR. I know it is. Even though I don't have it, but I hear everybody talking about it, and it's going to the wayside because there's no DMR repeater network around for anyone to use. So
Go get a
yeah,
hotspot.
yeah, that's the other option. Anyone gets a hotspot. I think it helps the repeater though. Or yeah,
All right.
I don't care if it's QRP myself, but it's strange. Here's a scenario that I did find, and something for you to talk to John about. The
Yeah,
latency issue between the UHF and the VHF site.
yeah,
The uplink and the downlink
yeah.
is different in two directions, and the
It is.
reason it's having so much issue is the hang time on the UHF repeater. The hang time is way too long. It's by the time the DART drops on the VHF, the hang time is still on the UHF. So by the time someone comes back on UHF, the VHF is still connected because it didn't drop. So what's happening now is the VHF is timing out because of the UHF link. So unfortunately, John's not here to check into that. The other issue is that I hear the DART full scale over here. Now, everybody this morning, including Lester, was saying it isn't working. It's all noise. It's all noise. But yet I'm hearing it full scale.
Well,
So
I
that
go
tells
down. I go on my
that,
base antenna. It's full scale too.
yeah, right. Okay. Oh, it is on your base?
Yeah, my
Okay.
handy talkie, I can't even hit it.
Yeah, but how does it sound on your handy talkie normally? You can hear it fine on
Noisy.
your handy talkie, right?
It's noisy.
Normally it is, or just today?
No, just today.
Okay, right.
Well, how
So
much of this may have been from some of the snow that was drifting up against that antenna, possibly up on the roof from the wind, and some of that on that direction towards the east? Because the reports have all been to the east that there's been a problem.
in the north as
Well,
well.
northeast, east, northeast.
Yeah.
but not west and due north, really.
But I'm north of it and it was full scale. I couldn't tell it was degraded at all. Now, Jeff is 5 miles to the north of me, said it was only an S5 and it's usually beyond, S9 plus 20 or 30. And no one else further north of him could even hear it at all. So it's definitely folded back. Whether or not it's even connected to an antenna, we don't know. We don't know if the antenna is still erect. But
Probably
something
the
is
antenna.
strange to the fact that I'm hearing it full scale and Les can't hear it at all and other people can't hear it. I know there's lobes on that omnidirectional, and every omnidirectional isn't a full radiation pattern, equally in all directions. There's lobes and nulls to the antenna. And I have a feeling that I'm in a lobe and Lester's in a null, and that's why he can't get into it half the time when he's on his HT. Now, when we put up the new antenna, we might want to check some things out, and it could have everything to do with the radial plane on there. So every antenna has a gain, even if it's omnidirectional. It could be with the radials. It might not be. It could be a common a coupling, a near field coupling, a mutual coupling with another structure that's close to it up there. And there's a lot of stuff. So we might want to keep that in consideration if we're there and putting up the new antenna. We might want to just spin it in the clamps a little bit and have people on the outskirts to see if it's doing anything to their signal strength, to their reception, because we will have some form of gain to an omnidirectional. Not a lot like a beam, a Yagi, or a multi-bay folded dipole, but there is a little bit of directionability. And plus, like I say, mutual coupling from other devices up there, other antennas, other structures, all that metal sitting around there below it.
That sounds like a great fair weather project.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I ain't
Yeah.
gonna be. No, I
Joe,
ain't
can
gonna be
I
in the
make a
winter.
suggestion? We need to
Yes.
find another technical person while John's out of town that can work on the repeater if something happens to it. We need to find somebody to go up there, unless that's you. I don't know.
Right, right. So here, hold on, hold that thought for a second. So here we are. So you can see on the left, this is the VHF. This is for to receive the remote sites. That's the UHF there. How do I get out of this now? What did I do here? Oh, there. Okay. So you can kind of get an idea. And then this is the antenna itself. So I'll run up there tomorrow. We'll take a look and we'll see exactly what I have one of the, well, this I don't have this is from something else, but I thought but let's take a look because my number one concern, and I am very concerned about the coverage, but my number one concern is if there's something wrong with the antenna, and I know that the brackets, they look very stable to me, but we got to go up there and check it, especially with all the wind. It would be the right thing to do. So we'll do a quick eyeball of what as long as the brackets, it looks like everything, it's not going to fall, then we're okay. Then we can trace back the connector that connects at the bottom, which is here. You can't really see it in this diagram, but it's pretty well embedded in that, and especially uh, on the side where the duplexer connects to. Those are the connectors. And I don't know whether that room is heated or not, frankly. It's a utility room. I suppose it is, but
It's not insulated. It's not
it's not
heated.
absolute. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You're not sure. It's just metal. You can see it on the inside.
Bring
It's
your
not
S-
insulated.
It's two. Let me see if I could. I don't have the right thing up here, but it's two layers of corrugated whatever it is. I don't think it's steel, corrugated whatever. But in between the two layers, let me get out of this. In between the two layers, there is a layer of insulation, like fiberglass insulation. But the I mean, you're talking a half an inch, whatever. I mean, so under normal conditions, yeah, probably it has a little insulation. But in weather like this, I don't know how effective that would
Take your
be.
northern Michigan gear with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Joe, and take an SWR power meter with you. do that before you even go out on the roof up there. If you go
Yeah.
to if you see the antenna still erect, go
Yeah.
up to the site and then put an SWR or power meter, put a bridge in there and see if it's putting out the power. And that way, if it's not putting out the power it should be, then you know it's not the antenna.
Yeah.
If it is putting out the antenna and via SW it is putting out the power and your SWR is high, then you know it's the antenna. Probably a connector. Like you said, it could be at the base or it could
Yeah.
be right there at the duplexer. But
The
don't go out on the
connectors on
roof.
the duplexer sometimes
Yeah,
get loose.
yeah.
That's what
Don't go out on the roof at all. Actually, just
yeah.
take a bridge up there with you and make sure that the power, the SWR is okay and it's putting out the amount of power. And I don't think it is. So yeah, if it isn't
Okay.
the antenna, it's the finals in the repeater itself.
Right. 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 Okay. Okay. So stand by for more. We'll stay tuned.
Yeah,
We'll,
I'll be around the radio tomorrow too,
will
Joe.
you? I'll
So,
give you a
oh
call
yeah,
then, Al.
absolutely. Yep.
That'd
Call
be
me on the
great.
phone if you need to. Oh, if you
Excellent.
need me to go over there with you, let me know.
Okay. We'll do.
That would be
Okay.
great.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We will meet back here next week, same time, same station. So take care of 73s and stay tuned. We'll have a report there tomorrow as to what's going on.